On Loose Lines, we are back. While Daniel has a big swig, it's much safer Daniel having a swig than what the other co-host is, who won't do it because it'll get me into trouble. So don't do it. Firstly, this show is a random show about harness racing where we talk a week in harness. Are we going 6 days this week, boys, or 7 days? That's a part where we can get ourselves a little bit off track. My two co-hosts are Daniel Hibberd and Toby McKinnon, and I will welcome both those guys in a minute. But there is I just want to get a part of it out there. These boys both give up their majority of their Sunday nights to do the show. The notables, the boys have done everything this week because I was at Boort Harness Racing Club. Anyone out there who wants their product promoted in a different way, but a sensible way, please get in touch with us. And we are only too happy to promote them on this show in a professional manner where a contract will be drawn up as well. I appreciate everything the guys do. There's a bit of feedback that I'm out just to make money and the likes from certain people in the industry. That is not it at all. All I want to do is promote the industry in a good and healthy way and have a little bit of fun along the way. So if you want to get behind us and sponsor us, that'd be great. If not, you got to put up with McKinnon doing their little dit, because at the minute I'm the only one getting paid, but that's okay. All good. Daniel, welcome, mate.
Hello, Paul. Yes, good to be back. Another busy week, busy weekend, to be honest. A busy Saturday yesterday at Bendigo at the Dogs there, and good day sitting at home doing a few jobs, and then watching some good racing there at Boort this afternoon.
I had to listen to Mr. Harley complaining about the early morning. What was it, about 8 o'clock, the first race?
Yeah, 8:52 was the first, and if you were sort of listening in, you might have picked up that. I didn't actually call the first race on Sky Channel because we had a bit of a glitch in the box, and that might have been my fault. So apologies to Ali who had to call the race in Sydney, but stuff happens and you can't do much about it. So I'm happy to cop the brunt of the blame for that one. So, but we got it fixed up, and it was all good after that.
As I said in the start of the show, we will do it in a professional and proper manner. We will make sure we turn all microphones on at all times, and whatever else may have happened.
You'd reckon that'd be the one thing I'd get right, would be to turn the mic on, but no, that obviously wasn't. I wasn't aware of it, and anyway, we fixed it up, and it was all fine after that. So it was good for the morning.
Happy not to. I'm happy. I'm not sure what Mr. McKinnon's saying, but I'm happy. Oh, he's taking the mickey. I'm happy to say that I've done it, Daniel, and plenty of other people. I think until you do this side of work, it's pretty easy to do it. It's you're not the first. You won't be the last. I reckon there'd be a lot of people out there wish that his microphone didn't work from time to time. Toby McKinnon, welcome, mate.
Yeah, morning, Paul. Lovely morning here. I'm in Yarra tonight, so just getting ready for the trots tomorrow, and never made the mistake with the microphone because I do like the sound of my own voice just that little bit too much.
That's not that part that's the issue. It's when you don't plug it in. I'm tipping that might have been what Daniel may have done. He might have had everything ready to go except for the plug attached to the wall, but not sure.
It was just a switch.
It's always up there with mobile rolling when you're calling a dog race. It doesn't go down that well either, mate. So.
Yeah, get it out of your system. Come on.
I've only just started. So, brilliant day at Boort. Had a lot of fun at Boort Harness Racing Club today, boys. It's a funny little track. It can be a polarising track because it's too small and no one wants to go there, but good competitive racing today, and everyone wanted to be there because I must say hats off to John Campbell and all the sponsors they had there. They had a lot of people. They had the Minister for Health there, Mr. Martin Foley on track. Duncan McPherson was there. Dale Monteith was there. They got a good crowd of people going there as well. But their prize money were all racing for a lot more. Both their cups were $14,500. They had another $14,000, a couple of $10,000 races. So well done to them for getting beyond it. And I must say, your mate Tobes, Mickey Gadsden, he's got a hernia right at the minute. because they want a pressure washer, and myself and Luke carried it to the horse stalls, but we said you're on your own now, Mick. You've got to get rid of it yourself. So he's probably trying to unload it as we speak at Charlton, and he's just giving himself a hernia because it was a very heavy pressure washer, but some great prizes, and well done. I'm not sure you guys have changed it up, haven't you? Exactly. Sorry, Topes.
Just empty it is the tip. Don't have it full of water, Paul, and it'll be a bit lighter. But anyway, keep going.
I'm going to stay with you, Topes, because you are going to discuss the Pacers Cup, which was won by the man that never sleeps, I must say. Other way around. Sorry, you're doing the Daniel. Can you talk about? Well, you do run
earlier at the start of the show, Paul. We do the run sheet, so we have some idea, and we keep the show going smoothly. So very well pointed out.
As I said, this is a professional show done properly. We will do everything to look after it. Daniel, the man who never sleeps, Mr. Greg Sugars, he was at Menangle last night. I think he got a plane at 8 o'clock this morning. He had to drive himself to Boort because he missed the horses leaving and all the rest. But it was a really stylish win by It's a Masterpiece. I'm another masterpiece.
Yes, I was trying to work it out earlier in the day how logistically how we actually got from Menangle to Boort and to be there, looking so dapper and ready to drive at lunchtime on a Sunday after being at Menangle, 13 or odd hours earlier. It was quite remarkable, and it just goes to show the effort that he puts into to driving all around the countryside. I'm another masterpiece. It was obviously the short price favourite in the Cup. $1.30 favourite. Had to contend with the outside of the second row, but he was clearly the class horse in the race, and Greg drove him as such. Got him to the lead as soon as he could. It took a little bit of work to get there, but once he got to the front and a second quarter in 32.4, it made it really difficult for anything else to get into the call, and then splashed home in 29.6 and 27.8. He deserved a nice win race like that since he's been across from New Zealand. He's obviously earned a fair bit of coin over the journey, but nice to get a cup win on the resume, even if it is a Boort Cup. It's not one of the higher ones, but it's still a cup, and it was a good drive and a good win, and a good reward for what's been a big weekend for Greg.
Absolutely, and I already noticed on their social media feed, Jess has already put up, great to win a cup. Like they love winning any of the races. They do a great job. Greg ended up with a treble there today at Boort, and he was pretty blown away actually by a lot of the prizes. I think Jess will be pretty happy. I think there was a basket full of beauty stuff and all the rest, so Jess will be having a great night when she gets home. But they're doing a good job with their horses. Larajay, they've got a lot of horses now. Or getting horses from New Zealand and the likes, high-class horses. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with as they continue to grow that business and continue to go.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's they're putting a lot of effort into the horses that they the horses that they've got, and it's the same with a lot of stables around the place. When you think of those young. Some young couples and some younger guys and girls on their own that are sort of putting in the extra hard yards to sort of set up training establishments. We've gone over obviously Kate and Alex, and Jess and Greg are doing a good job. And there's obviously a few lesser players that are sort of building up a nice little team. It might not be 30, 40 horses, but it might be 5 or 10 horses. And people are really putting in the effort to make a go of harness racing, and it's great to see.
Oh, absolutely, they are indeed. I have one little issue that I have to fix very quickly. Tobes, I might throw to you.
It's more than one, Paul.
I might throw to you. Hopefully this will work. I may not have plugged the PowerPoint into your computer. You guys might go black in a minute and I'll be in trouble. But it'll be right. You both did freeze there for a minute too, which really scared me. Trotters Cup. Well defined, mate. He's just low flying, this little trotter, isn't he?
Yeah, it was a professional little effort, Paul, off 30 metres this time, which was a bit of a challenge, although the main rival, class horse in the race, I thought Trouble Bug starting off 30 as well. gave Well Defined every chance. Hanging on a Dream led, and you sort of went back to that race at Boort where he just kept running, hanging on a dream. And I thought, geez, he might do this again, but he obviously wasn't right. He dropped out with a long way to go. Well Defined just sort of rolled up, ended up in the 1 out, 1 back. And Down Under Barkers came and put a bit of pressure on. The third quarter was 29-7, and then he got the stitch at the top of the straight, and Well Defined, he just was just too good for him. Down Under Barkers second, and Travel Bug just didn't quite sort of finish off. You did mention, Paul, a few weeks ago that you just thought James Herbert just thought he was just a little bit off, and I still think he's just a little bit off, but he's putting in some good races, and probably lucky, talking about Greg Sugars, that he didn't have Travel Bug.
Very, very, very true, Tobes. I didn't notice it on the day. Just then when you were saying that, he actually was head bobbing. Whether he might have got on a knee, like just if you get a chance to watch a replay, the boys don't get to see the replays when I put them up. But and he actually galloped just over the line, Travel Bug. So clearly there's something not quite right with him. He may not have handled the track, or there might have been a little bit else going on in regards to it. But this little horse, Flick, as he's more affectionately known, and there's nothing to him. He's got a pocket full of attitude and the likes, but he's great. And both you gentlemen would know, like Kate, he's a very proud family person. She's from that area. And to win a race in that area, to have all the family there, they were all cock-a-hoop about it to the Hargraves, and rightfully so. They made the trip, I won't say long trip, but I don't know how far Wedderburn is to Boort, but it's not very far, but there was a lot of family there as well. And then Alan Tormey chimed in as well, because basically all her family's from that area across to Charlton, so it meant a lot to Ellen as well. It was a pretty good sentimental win for a couple of ladies that are doing a great job. We said, Tobes, at Terang, we watched him doing his warm-up, Flick. He's not an easy horse to drive. He looks lovely to drive in a race, but it seems like the preliminaries are where the issues are, and Ellen's really got an affinity now with him, keeping him calm and keeping him relaxed by himself, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. We did talk about a little affinity she's got with the horse. She's only driven it 6 or 7 times, Paul, but I like what they've done. They've just said, well, Albie, you're going to drive other horses or whatever, and we're just going to stick one person on this horse, and it's going to be you, Alan, and you just keep driving. And I do like when trainers do that with horses, and it allows them to get used to it, and definitely the horse seems to run for Alan. There's something about it.
The second horse, the stablemate, he's actually going terrific. He's really starting to find form. I thought when they got him, he'd be a nice horse for them, but he probably just plateaued for a while, but he's starting to really find a bit of form now.
Yeah, he's a funny sort of horse. He just keeps putting the writing on the wall. He always seems to beat the easy fields, but never really put away a good field as yet. So I'm still waiting for him to do that, and maybe the penny will drop soon, Paul.
Might have been just a different thing, though, if Hanging on a Dream had handed up to him that first time that Alex had have asked, you don't know, around a tight track like that. So Glenn just was, and rightfully so, Hanging on a Dream had every right to do it after the way he went at Boort in the Central Victorian Championships, but clearly there's something not right with that horse today, because he dropped out. He was gone a lap from home.
Yeah. You get the impression with them, though, that Down Under Barkers probably works just as good as Well Defined. Like, you wouldn't. I'm tipping if you asked him, Well Defined wouldn't be a 30-metre better horse at home, but he's given him 30 today and beaten him. You just feel like Well Defined rises when it comes to race day, when a Down Under Barkers probably just doesn't quite sort of lift or something as yet. But these trotters, and you can see them come good when they're 6, 7, 8 years of age, even where they really hit their straps. And I know you're hanging out for Lucinda Mack, and hopefully she can too, Paul. And she may get that win over Norquay yet one day. Is
Norquay racing?
Yes, shortly. We're just waiting for Lucinda Mack to get 100%, and then we'll make sure we come on the scene and beat her.
Game on. Anyone wondering? It is all in jest. We both enjoy each other winning races. That's for sure. Well, I enjoy him winning races. I don't know. Well, not even him. It's Claire, the better half. I do enjoy him winning races, and we will touch off on a part of that stable that did a great job last night. I spoke to Alan Tormey post race, and at Terang, Tobes, it was a bit of a battle all the way up the straight, and he put his head out and really wanted to win, but didn't win. But today, he did the same thing. Even though he'd put Down Under Barkers away, he's still with 100 to go. He puts his head down and just really wants to savage the line. I don't think he necessarily just wants to beat the horse next to him. He just loves running through the line and just loves racing by the looks of him.
Yeah, I saw him one day up next to McLovin, Paul, and McLovin might have pointed out to him where the finish line is. So
Was that at
he might know
Shepparton?
where the line is now. Yeah, he might know where the line is now, so he might be finding it better than ever.
Definitely an in-joke that has stayed well and truly in, that's for sure. He's about the only horse, only person, only anyone in the world that actually knows where that line is at Shepparton we're talking about, of course. So, bit of a recap of Boort. Was a good day. There was plenty of good winners. 5 winners for the Team Teal, 3 winners to Greg Sugars. That's pretty much how you cap it off. He's doing a great job, Greg Sugars, going along. We are going to now go to actually the Trainers Premiership, Drivers Premiership. Drivers, not trainers, which I haven't had a chance to get up tonight. This show has been done very, very quickly tonight because it's late. But
what haven't you done, Paul?
I still haven't got the Premiership because, no, I didn't have a chance to.
You can't. What can't you do?
I'm not going there. The blue pill has been mentioned to me a lot today, so we'll just leave that alone, okay? This is Michelle Nisbet. She loved it. She could not wait to see me to tell me about it. So, yeah, it's all good. Tom wasn't sure what we were talking about, so that's a good sign for Tom. But Michelle was very keen to give me a hard time about it. That's for sure.
If you could get it up, Paul, you'd know that Chris Alford is now on 38 wins, and he is driving a masterclass in Tassie as we speak, and we'll get to it a bit later. But he's shot clear of Jack Law, 33, James Herbertson. He's sort of spinning in the mud at the moment on 29. Greg Sugars, 29. Kate Gath, the one you think will win, 23. She's 15 behind Chris Alford. And Mickey Bellman, he's snuck in there on the top 6 on 22. And Aaron Dunn. Now, Paul, I said it last week. He's now 17 wins, 23 placings, which is, 40 places out of 51 drives. Now, Aaron, I said it last week, and this is your last warning. Stop dominating this sport. Give some other people a chance.
We might actually stick on him. We don't have this one on the Rudge sheet. His win last night with All I Want Bob, I was given a message about trying to put the video up on the on my picture. I couldn't get it because the only place I had it was Twitter, and it's very hard to share or take videos off that. But if anyone can get a chance out there in social media land, it will be on just the way these guys enjoyed the night. And our man, A. Dunn, Superman, we better start calling him, I think, and he might be on Loose Line's own Aaron Dunn. I don't know if we can get an official sponsorship for him. He'll have to bring his own package, that's for sure. But he drove it, did a brilliant job. But the scenes from these guys afterwards are just, they only train a couple of horses. They don't even have a track. They work them up the road, of all things, these horses, out in the middle of nowhere. And, they're doing a great job. Trains 2 horses. They took a busload of guys there last night, and it was great to see the scenes afterwards. They had them out on the track. All these guys were out on the track and just had an absolute ball. Absolutely loved it. It's great scenes to see. I apologise, Steve. I had a little bit of trouble trying to get the video, but I wish I could get them up, but I will say go to Steve. If you're on Twitter, go to Stevie Blacker's Twitter account. It's on that, and it will be on the Harness Racing website. Sorry, Toby, I've said something that made you laugh.
No, and just another point on this, Paul. 5 starts back, this horse, Alawart Bob, was in at stall, and it was the only drive Aaron Dunn had there on the day, and he went all the way to stall, which isn't that far from Horsham, but he still gives up half his day to drive there, drive the one horse and drive home. So that was 5 starts back, 25th of January, and the horse has run 3rd there, and it's repaid the faith and won its last 2. So great result for Aaron on a serious note.
And and while you're on that serious note, he runs a very successful business, Aaron Dunn does as well. So don't think that he's staying at home working horses and he says, I'm going to go off and drive. He has his hands full with Done Easy. So, he's doing a good job. He's got his main supporter, I would say, Stevie Blacker, who actually had a winner today at Boort as well in Do It's Son. So it's good that Stevie Blacker puts a lot in, and they're having a bit of fun as well. That's the best part about it. So well done to everyone concerned and involved as well. Just quickly on your Drivers' Premiership, Tobe, I threw you off the track. Greg Sugars had 3 today. What does that give him to, mate?
If you had 3 today, sorry, Paul, he gets to 32. So he's 3rd now behind Chris Alford and Jack Law.
And Chris is on?
38.
38, okay. Very good. And
Chris has won everything in Hobart. I think he even went in the pony trot and won the pony trot.
he had a good sleep last night, though, Chris did, so it was all good. Sleepy. I'll have to... Jesus.
Yeah. Just because we didn't laugh doesn't mean we didn't get it, Paul.
I thought it was I thought it was good. I'm tired.
I'd say your jokes, Paul, are getting a little bit wobbly.
They probably...
Oh, Lord.
They could get worse too by the end of this night, that's for sure. Tobes is getting some late mail by the looks. No? Are you with us? You with us, Tobes? No, you've left us. That's okay. It's all good.
I'm here, Paul. I'm all here. We're on a weekend away here, Paul. Trying to have an enjoyable weekend away, and I'm giving up my night for you.
Randoms, Toby. I'm presuming you're doing. I'm presuming you're doing the lookalike.
Have you seen? Can you get the lookalike on the screen, Paul? That's how you put it. If you want to stay away from the other word,
it's on the screen. It's on the screen, Tobes.
This is David Miles, who has been sending in some feedback that I look like Columbo. Now that's David Miles, maybe on the left or the right. I'm not sure, and it'll be hard for the listeners as well. That's a cartoon image of a bloke called Rodney Roode, Paul. David Miles and Rodney Roode. So if anyone out there in the harness land sees him this week, just call him Rodney or Mr. Roode, whatever you want. 1.6 kilometre man, anything you want. So that's our lookalike for the week. And that's been brought to you, Paul, by one of our top 10 drivers in the state has texted that through to me to put that up. So D Miles can try and work out who that is. He'll be in who did it? Well, he'll have to try and work that out.
We're like
Paul,
Tobes.
Before we move on,
yes, Tobes.
I've had a lot of feedback. You did an interview with Al Morrow.
Pretty good.
And you had a cap on.
Pretty good interview, I thought. Might make you two blokes scared. I think she was a good co-host, actually. So, yep. Sorry, Tobes.
I wondered where you got the cap from. So I rang Derek Kraft, who'd been in the fall the other week, so hopefully he's going well. And Derek said it wasn't his cap, but he said his dad had a cap like that. Well, fair enough. So I rang Bill Drury. I thought maybe you got it from Bill Drury. I rang Bill and he said no, but me dad had a cap like that. Then I thought Jeff Senior. He's in his 80s, so I rang Jeff Senior. No, I don't have a cap like that, but me dad used to wear a cap like that. Then I rang Dickie Lee. I thought Dickie Lee's a fair chance. No, but I did have a namesake had a cap like that, whoever that was. Then I rang Marty Miles. You might know Marty Miles. I said, Marty. And he said, no, but I've got a son that's got a cap like that. And now you can put that photo up, Paul. That horrendous bloody cap of yours, I think it's come from David Miles again. Here it is. Now, come on. Fair dinkum. Derek Kraft, Jeff Senior, Bill Drury and Dick Lee all told me their dads had a cap like that and they wouldn't wear one. But yet you're getting around in it.
Have you met a man called Shane Warne? Jason Richardson? These guys actually wear hats like this as well, Tobes. Not everyone's cup of tea. More than happy it's not everyone's cup of tea. I like the hat. I went in fashions on the field today. I like the hat. I'll continue to wear the hat, mate. It's all good.
Oh, yeah, and how'd you go? In fashions on the field? You came fifth in a four-person competition.
Well, if the bloke who ran third didn't have thongs on, I reckon I was a chance. He wore thongs. I reckon that's cheating. The open-toed sandals, I reckon, man, he just cheated. So, just actually, just on that, I'll put the video up. So, Daniel's got a chance to catch it his breath. This is a part of the video that. Of the day and a few of the highlights. Andrea Gorman actually did this live on Facebook, and fair to say Joey Thompson's not all that rap that it's out on Facebook. I encourage everyone, head to the Charlton Facebook page and watch it. It is actually a little bit of fun. We had a bit of fun there on the day, and it was just a good way to have a day out, I must say. But happy to say Joey Thompson did come away with the winners, and he doesn't want anyone to know. So with their cup coming up in 2 weeks, make sure no one mentions it to him on Cup Day. I believe they're going to have a male-only fashions on the field. Yes, Tobes?
No, I've heard otherwise, Paul, that he may be going to Sydney for the golden slipper to go in the fashions on the field at Renwick. Because he's got a taste of it now, Joey. Like Imprimatur, if you go back to Imprimatur, he was from Charlton. He went to New South Wales. He won the New South Wales Derby in 1991. I'm going to go. And I reckon Joe's thinking, I can go to New South Wales and take their biggest fashions on the field contest as well. He'll have the glasses hanging. Don't worry, the glass will be there.
I don't understand how that beat me. At least I didn't have my glasses on me at all, but he's got them stuck into the front part of the shirt. He's got lace-up shoes. Oh, jeez.
QPP LCRT.
No idea what that means.
Query poor performance, last chance to race truly. On the fashions on the field.
I don't know if you listened to me call. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to.
Query gear as well. Query gear.
We
had a gear adjustment with the hat on.
We actually.
He had a tablet, so the gear was fine.
We had one later, one a bit later on in the day that refused to come out onto the track. So I sort of started saying about it being scratched and refusing to come out in the track. They're going to unharness it and all the rest. I'm thinking, I don't know if I can say this, but I did, so who cares? But a lot of fun. Kelly Turniff did a great job. And get different people to harness racing. They want to know how to have fun. Al Morrow saw how well Joey was dressed, said, we need some guys in it. So Joe had no intentions of going in it, but Al basically said, what's your name? And went back and put his name on the form, and then I got on the microphone, started calling him out. So he was basically shamed into it to come up, and away he went. And I must say, the other two guys as well, they rocked up on the day and said they'll have a crack as well. So it's just a bit of fun. I think he won a nice enough prize. I think he won a $100 voucher or something too. It wasn't nothing to be sneezed at, but yeah, well done to Joey Thompson, and a little bit of fun to be had. It makes the days a lot better, that's for sure. Back to the run sheet. Right. Do we go back to the run sheet now?
Olivia's turquoise rooster.
Yes, this is who's starting us off. I've got to get you in the order. Daniel, this is for you, mate.
Dan the man.
Yeah, so a Chuka on Thursday night, Olivia Wiedenbach had a double there, and I guess you could say two different horses. Obviously two different stables, but one for
it wasn't a Great Southern Star, was it? If she got a double, the only other way if it was a Great Southern Star, so it had to be two different horses. Just saying.
Come on, shit. One for the home stable with Good Looking Rooster for Rosie, and then one for the Strides for Anthony Button, Sonia Smith with Turquoise Stride. Good Looking Rooster dead set was gone turning for home. I don't know how the hell it won, but it managed to find something in the straight. I don't know what Olivia was yelling at it, but it obviously was enough to encourage it to keep running. And it was a very close finish. There was the margins were a short half head and a half head between the first four. When they hit the line, Lockie called Quartz Bliss as the winner, which when you looked at the image, I think that was the way to go. But actually, Good Looking Rooster had managed to get up and win. It was a slash and go, and it's a nice enough horse. That's its sort of grade. I don't think you're not going to see it go through its classes or anything like that. But it'll be always thereabouts in that sort of grade. And then later in the night, Turquoise Stride was in the 3-year-old race, led and absolutely loafed in front. It was like it was doing jog work on a Monday morning. It was going that slow in the early part, but once something come up on its outside, just sort of clicked into another gear, and it just wouldn't let anything else go past it. So it was the favourite and was able to lead all the way. 2:1.9 was the mile right there. So great effort there for Olivia. She's going about it in the right way. She's obviously, if she's working with the Butt Smith stable, she's obviously getting a lot of experience down there. She's worked in different stables around the Melbourne area for a little while, and obviously still drives for the stable at home. So she's good to see her getting a few winners as well.
I think it's good to see too, guys. We don't the notables. I'll get you Tobes in a sec, but the notables we try not to stick to one person or the likes. But I think this is nearly the third time we've been praising Olivia's talent. She doesn't drive a lot, but when she seems to get a few drives, she seems to notch up the winners, which is really key to her. So I agree. Yes, Tobes.
There's two things I like about Olivia Paul. She asks questions and she listens to answers. I've noticed it a few times. So she'll go a long way in life if she keeps asking questions and listening to answers, because that is the key to learning how to drive. And she asks the bigger drivers. I've seen her doing it. And she'll ask them what I did wrong or what I did right. And then she's keen and listening to the answers, and that's why she's improving so quickly.
No, she does a good job. And back on to what Daniel was saying there before about working for Anthony Butt and I've forgotten the lady's name again.
Sonia Smith.
Sonia Smith. Thank you, Tobes. Last night, they're part of a big team. Chris Venozio doing the same thing. I think this way some of these stables are basing themselves with a good group of people around them that seem to have a lot of fun. I think it's great to see younger people at harness racing having fun and enjoying the night. I know we've got a talk about Chris coming up in a minute, but they both stables outside in that shed area, and someone gets a winner, they're always up and about, and it's good for harness racing, and it makes harness racing's future look very, very bright, I must say. Toby, this one is for you. Stalls, Southern Speedway. I've got a rough idea where this one might be going, but not 100%.
Yeah, so there's a little training track, Paul. So it's about 1 kilometre from Chadstone Shopping Centre, would you believe? And if you went to Chadstone Shopping Centre, you'd say, yeah, $1 million to one to find a trotting track down here. And the trotting track is called Southern Speedways. And if you went right back into the history, there's been a lot of horses come out of that region. It was a big trotting region at one stage, and the likes of Teddy Damler and people have come out of that sort of region in around Dandenong there. And it's still in operation, Southern Speedways. There's a couple of horses trained there. It's about a 650, 700 metre track that they train on. And two horses went all the way to stall, and they both won, which is pretty amazing. And one fella, Greg Hansen's been in the sport for a long time. He won with a horse called Sun. He's amazing, and Jack Law had the drive. It's by Better's Delight, Paul, which is a Woodland stud horse, of course. And Greg I've known forever. He's been around training horses at here, there and everywhere, not always at Southern Speedways, but he's been at Dandenong there, he's been at Cranbourne, and he always trains a winner or two each year, and he's even had 10 winners in a year in 1993. That's how far back he goes in the sport. The second winner from Southern Speedways was the very next race, and it was Illawong Phoenix, and this man, Alan Ratner Singham, clearly doesn't have a family involvement in the sport. Jack Law won it with it as well. Alan got into the sport in the late 90s. He's been at Southern Speedways the whole time, and like, you know, Paul, he's had 521 career starters for 9 wins. It's not a regular thing where he's winning a lot of races, but he's won 2 this year from his 8 starts. So great to see a guy like Alan, who's always friendly, always happy. Everyone, you know, enjoys his company and loves seeing him win a race. So great to see Alan Ratner seeing him win a race as well. And both at stall, which is a long way for him to go, because they're normally just belting around at Cranbourne and Warragul and Yarra Valley. So great to see. Absolutely.
I've actually been to Southern Speedway. I would not have known that until you said that just then, when you said it's near Chadstone Shopping Centre. There's some factories nearby, I think, and yeah, I was actually getting some stuff from one of those factories, and I just looked and I thought, that's a trotting horse. So I went for a bit of a walk up along the ringlock fence, and sure enough, there was a guy working a horse around. So that'll be the same place, I would imagine.
And things our sport does that you would never know, Paul. You know, the Riding for Disabled went there many years ago and said, we're looking for a place to do it, and the guys there found a little place, a part of it, and now they're a part of the facility as well. And little things like they don't have a float or anything, because they're just a community organisation. So when they buy a horse, one of the guys from Southern Speedways will drive off, pick the horse up and bring it back for them. And that's not for harness racing, that's for the Riding for Disabled. But that's what community is all about for me, and they're the sort of little 1%ers that our industry does for not just our industry, but for something that, as you know, is a very important thing, the Riding for Disabled program.
I think, yep, any part of our community's full stop building a future for each other is key. Well done, Tobes. That's a ripping story, Tobes. Terrific. Daniel, Puppet Show goes on tour. We've touched on this a little bit, but he's had a fair enough week, I think.
Yeah, I've just I started writing it down, and then I've sort of had to scribble a heap of extra ones on there because they just kept on popping up. So by my count, he's had 14 winners since Monday last week, and that's including the 3 that he's had at Hobart tonight, Sunday night.
He's had 4 now.
Okay,
4.
we've updated that to 4. So that's, as I was saying, 15 winners for the week. So going back to Maryborough, we had Safe Under Fire, Lady Lani. Kilmore, he had Lopez and the Majestic. Then Stawley had Metro Man, What Stanley Got, and Rosarito Miss, all for AJ and Bo Tyndall. And then Geelong, he had Mia Culper on the same night on the Friday night. And then Melton, he's had Queen Alida, Sleepy, and Tetra. And then the 3 that he had before we started recording, Mascot, Willie Go West, and Jaffra Josh at Hobart. So if you thought, if they had the market up for the Victorian Premiership, and he might have been a bit of a price at the start of last week, he's probably not that quote now because he's got a bit of a lead on the rest of the drivers. But his performance at at Melton last night was particularly on Queen Alida and Sleepy. Sleepy obviously was a Group 1 race, was able to lead. When I was watching the race, obviously because one of my mates had a horse in the race, and I thought about 20 metres before the start, I thought it was going to gallop. I thought she had her head in the air. I thought she's just going to break here, but Chris just managed to keep her in a gear. And once she settled in front, it was basically all over. She's a really nice mare, and obviously she's going up in the ranking points now, but she'll continue to race well. And I think he mentioned in his interview at the end last night that she's still basically eligible for an MO, the old MO at Melton, so she'll certainly be able to win one of them, you would think. His drive on Queen Alida, I thought, was probably one of the best drives of the night. He didn't get out of the gate all that well. It ended up 3 back to pegs. He was behind the leader, and I think he said he thought that was going to be the spot to be, but then it handed up to Ryan Duffy's horse, and he ended up 3 back to pegs. He tried to come out 3 and 4 deep and was not getting any help from John Calder on the outside. And just as it looked like he was going to get held up, the horse that was behind the leader galloped, and he just basically went from 4 wide to the sprint lane in about 50 metres, which obviously goes to show the quality, A, the quality of the horse, and B, the quality of Chris's hands to be able to get the horse to stay in its gear and get to the sprint lane, and then it charged through it and got up on the line to win. It was a really, had to think on his feet. Plan A didn't work. Plan B wasn't going to work, and they had to resort to Plan C, and it actually paid off in the end. So, but that was probably the drive of the night for mine. And for him to drive, close to 15, he's probably he might end up driving 20 winners for the week if he keeps driving the card at Hobart. But that's just it's a remarkable feat, and it just goes to show how good a driver he is in the state. He is so good, and he's still at the top of the pops. And even though we have got all these young guns coming at them, he's still telling them who's boss.
He's actually doing a great job because you've got the elephant in the room. He's not driving for Emma and Clayton anymore, and he is actually still knocking the winners up all the time. So that's fair sign of his ability, that's for sure. He's a lot of fun, Chris. He can take things very seriously sometimes, and he can have a bit of a joke. But yeah, he is doing a great job. Yes, Topes?
I just thought, Paul, warning for Juanita Breen, but I did ask Chris Alford. I said, you've had a big week, Chris, and he's driven a few winners. And he said, yeah, I've been a Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mooloolaba, Nambour, Maroochydore, Kilmore, Willumbar, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville, Cunnamulla.
I wasn't sure what the Juanita Breen connection was until you started, and then I was like, no.
I've been everywhere, man.
No. We need the show to go up in ratings, Tobes. Up, not down. Up in ratings, okay? We've got to just keep building what we've got.
By half an hour, everyone's clicked off anyway, don't worry.
Maxwell, no, they don't. I see the analytics. Maxwell and Williams, Tobes.
Yeah, Maxwell and Williams, Paul. You got any idea on this one?
I think it's got a little bit to do with the Tyndales, I believe, and possibly a couple of the horses and maybe the Sun, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, they've got a partnership going, Bo and AJ Tyndale, and I was trying to think of something that's a solid partnership delivers, been around the Maxwell and Williams brand, which is like they do crockery, plates, tableware, Paul. They're a very consistent brand. You get a consistent result from them. They're high quality. They've been around since 1997. They're an Australian brand. And I thought that's the sort of partnership that Bo and AJ have got at the moment. They just keep delivering with good horses, getting good results. They had a good day at stall. They had 7 horses in at stall. Metro Man won for a bloke called Chris Alford, which we might have given a little bit of a praise to at this point already in the show. Then What Stanley got up. Again, went straight to the front with Puppet on board from gate 6, which is how you drive stall when you've got the best horse in the race. And then Rosarito missed, which did a few little things wrong, and it was another peach of a drive from Chris. So they got the 3 winners there at stall, and I thought the Maxwell and Williams reference was a very good analogy for how Bo and AJ are. They do everything together. They've just got a big walker machine in, Paul, which they're getting great use out of. They've got Cohen, their son, who loves the pony trots, and they just seem to be flying. He did mention to me, though, Paul, he said at Terang on the coverage that you and I did, that I said that they won a race on the Friday night, and when they win, and their team was going well, and they'll just start winning races everywhere once they win one. The floodgates will open, and they have. They won one at Monday at wherever they were. Monday, I can't remember now. I haven't written it all down. As you know, I've had a bit of a long day, and the 3 at stall. So the Tyndales, Maxwell and Williams, we're going to call them from now on, Paul, because they just deliver a consistent brand, quality brand, Australian brand.
I got another name for it, Tobe. Marriage.
Oh, here we go.
Marriage, mate. AJ and Bo are a great marriage. That's it. I know it's nowhere near as much fun as what you just went through, but just putting it out there.
Yeah. No comment, Paul, on marriage.
Right. The run sheet. I'm a little bit concerned by this. Daniel, it has got you with a heap of question marks. Does that mean you don't have another one for me? Thank you. I was looking and I'm like, I don't like not having something that I don't know, so that's fine. I'm more than happy with that. Toby, this one's over to you, mate, with the French connection.
Yeah, the French connection, Paul. You clearly you're aware that this is Chris Sinocio.
I said that just before. Yeah.
So, the Sinocio family, Paul, there's only 148 in the world with the surname Sinocio, would you believe? I've done some research on this. I do like something unusual. And they come from a little Villa Tirano, Tirano, the Sinocio family from the north of Italy. Now that, Paul, is about 100 kilometres from the French border. So the Sinocio family have been close to the French border for all of time and all of history. And it's a wine region, the Villa Tirano. So Taylor French is slotted in perfectly with Chris because Chris has the background of being close to French. So that's why Chris Sinocio and Taylor French have become such a good combination for them. Now, the serious bit, they did Taylor French.
That wasn't the serious bit?
Well, it was. I suppose that was serious enough, wasn't it? Pretty.
Hang on.
I just like.
Can I just want to cut. I need to cut in for a minute. I had a heated discussion with Toby at the start of last week's show about we have to tell people what this show is about. And I have to have an intro, tell people what's on the show and what this show is about so that people know what to expect. How do you put what you just brought up in words? Really, how do I put that into a harness racing show? Honestly.
The word's gold, Paul. Gold.
As I said, I want the boys sponsored. If someone's out there and wants a live read, that's what you can get. If you want to sell bottles of wine, Toby will sell you French bottles of wine. Don't you worry about that.
One, it wasn't a heated discussion, let's face it. I just wanted you to anyway, Elder Baron of this by the American stallion Muscle Hill out of a New Zealand bred mare, which isn't quite the French-Italian connection that Sinocio and French got going. But she went straight to the front on Elder Baron Alyssa. She rated the horse to perfection, Paul, 29.4, 29.9, 29.3, 29.7. Very good, consistent sectionals for that class of mare. 52 to 66 grade, the Breed for Speed Silver Series, and that was Taylor French's first group win. Chris was on Fear the Yankee, of course, and ran third in the race. So great result for Chris, running first and third. And the little horse, we're all becoming very familiar with, President Royd, and what a wonderful job Chris has done with it as well, winning the Woodland Stud Trot. I did ask Chris a few weeks back if he was considering going to Sydney with this horse for that race next week up there, the $50,000 trot mile race.
Grand Prix.
And at that stage, he said it was a possibility. So I've spoken with him today a fair bit, Chris, and never asked him about that. I was more interested in Villa Toronto, Paul. Now, remember the horse Toronto Lady? She was a good mare from the 90s, Paul.
No, I don't, but that's okay.
Toronto Lady. She ran last at Mildura one night, and a week later she won at Moonee Valley at 120 to 1. And me, I was about 15, and I got a little bit of front in me, would you believe? I just bowled up to him and asked him why the horse improved. And he said, she was in season last week. That's why there was such a sudden improvement. But look it up.
Okay. You are random tonight. That is...
Yeah, he's big time.
He's... Hey, On Loose Lines is a show where two gentlemen talk harness racing and one man goes wherever he wants. Who knows what's going to come up?
Harness racing, Paul.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. And he's doing a great job. And I reiterate what I said there before about I think they are building a good, stable environment when you watch them at the races and the likes. And I will say one other thing. It is Team Teal month and the likes. 2 years ago, I interviewed Taylor French after she drove one winner for the month of February. Last year, she knocked it out of the park. This year, she is flying. She's coming a long, long way in the driving stakes, doing a great job. Lovely girl to be interviewed. She does a great job. She works 3 jobs. She is crazy and all the rest. She's a hard worker, loves her horses, and has a real crack. So, yes, well done, Taylor French. Keep going. Toby's pulling some strange faces, but that's okay.
I don't think we're in a position to be calling her crazy, Paul. Just quietly.
Yeah.
Krug wins Northern Derby Prelude. I must say the notables tonight, boys. Hang on. The notables tonight have been brought to you by Nutrient Equine, who have got their upcoming sale in April 10 and 11. Campbell's Comments will be ramping right up very shortly with the Nutrient promotions. Yes, Tobes.
Now, last week, Paul, I did mention NZB Standardbreds when I was talking about Aladdin and a piece of Lou, who both got brought through the NZB sales, Paul. So, sort of place where you go and buy some horses. And, of course, I'm just talking about them. I don't necessarily talk about them expecting them to send some products, but I do believe you got a beanie sent to you, which is for myself. And there's no, like, if I could actually give them another mention, Paul, there's a fair chance I could get rid of the Woodland Stud Polo. If I had a NZB Polo...
Hey, you don't get rid of it. You could take it off from time to time and put their shirt on is what you're trying to say. You don't say you get rid of another shirt.
I can be bought, Paul. Anyway, so we won't mention NZB this week. Krug did win a prelude of the Great Northern Derby, Paul. And in case you're wondering, I just did a bit of research. This is a Great New Zealand Derby. Krug, trained by Crandell Getty, was purchased at the NZB sales, Standardbred sales, quite coincidentally, for $155,000, and it's earned $266,000 as a 3-year-old, and it goes into the Derby as nearly the favourite Krug, which was purchased from the NZB Standardbred sales, Paul.
Cambrai watches the show. He loved his lookalike last week. He did send me another one, which I refused to put up because, power's going to his head, that's for sure. Yes, Tobes?
Is there any truth that he'd auction off his own body parts if he could, Paul?
Gallbladders on eBay, I believe. There's a couple of gallbladders going cheap on eBay. I'm not sure if that's got anything at all to do with Cam or not. Not 100% sure, but good luck trying to outbid him. That's all I will say. They had a very good sale too last week. Well done to them. I think they did a great job under the trying circumstances of the COVID. COVID going that way. No. No, I don't know if you guys saw the interview I did with Katrina Price. Anyone out there preparing yearlings for the nutrient sale coming up? Have a listen to the Katrina Price one because she gave some pretty good pointers there about how she presents them. She took 7 horses to the Christchurch auction and they cleared over $1.2 million. So I think well done to Katrina Price going forward. That was a very good job. Go to Campbell's comments. You can see all of these videos. And you don't have to put up with Toby on most of them. I don't think I've got this fill-in called El Morrow. I'm going to have to give Elle a ring tomorrow, see what she's doing on a Sunday. But anyway.
I'll ring tomorrow. Hey? Oh, very good call.
That's it for our notables. As I said, brought you this week by Nutrien. The main reason was because it was the quickest tile I could find in a hurry. But we still well and truly support Barrastock and Woodland, NZB. Anyone else? Daniel, you keep wearing that Melbourne hat, so you got no chance of that getting a plug. I can promise you that much, but that's okay.
Well, I did find a couple of other hats, but they didn't match up with your one from Boort today, so they were a bit worse than the one you were wearing, so I couldn't really put them on.
There is not
when your one at Boort today, Paul, was made, and in fashion, Melbourne Football Club hadn't even been invented.
Random things. Don't worry.
I've got a live studio audience here, Paul. I'm even getting a laugh from the live studio audience.
If Daniel keeps going to the same hairdresser, he's going to have more than just the same hats as me. I can tell you that. He's going to have to come back blaming the hairdresser. It'll be fine. Discussion points. Toby McKinnon, you have written down here trials at race meetings, and it's a little bit of I think, a good one. But I do have a little knock on it. But over to you, Topes.
Well, I went to 2 trial meetings this week, Paul. One at Terang on Tuesday night, standalone trial meeting. Probably 10 volunteers give up 4 hours of their night to do it because you can't have the participants running the trials generally. It just doesn't work. So the way I look at that, there's 40 hours of volunteer time, and that volunteer time is getting tighter and tighter for people. They just don't have the time to volunteer, and it's nothing personal against horse trainers or anything. It's just not the people that have the time to do it. So it's a lot of work for 10 people to come out and give up their time. I then went to Stall for the Trots meeting. They had trials before the race meeting, Paul. They had 3 trials before the race meeting. The timekeeper, Steve Hardy, was kind enough to time them for the club. The judge was kind enough to judge them for them. The steward, so it's a one-off occasion because the club steward couldn't be there. They can help out as well. The clerks of courses are already there for the race meeting. The ambulance is already there for the race meeting. The barrier attendants are already there for the race meeting. Even the preparation of the track is easier. So at Terang, Alan Driscoll, who's a volunteer, has to prepare the track for the trials, just for the trials, where the Cody Sanderson at Stall, he had to prepare it for the race meeting anyway. So preparing it for the trials was no additional work. So it really makes sense going forward to be trialling before race meetings. And I've had the argument from someone, if I've got 2 horses racing and 2 horses trial, it's too hard for me. And I went back to him and said, what if you got 4 horses racing? Is that all right? Not an issue. So, it's madness, Paul. The volunteer hours going into trials is not sustainable going into the future, and we need to find a better way to do it.
I totally agree. Have no worries with it. And we're clearly not talking about tracks like Melton, Bendigo, Shepparton, who have large numbers of trials and the likes, because that would be a logistical nightmare if you had 40 horses and 10 races. Boort today is a no-brainer because there was only 8 races and all the rest. That's the only thing I will say. And Stall probably the same. They only had the 8. It might just get a little bit too much on everyone that's working. If they have a 12-race program or 10-race program, it may be pushing the boundaries of the friendship with the amount of numbers. That's a minor thing. I'm not saying it's a given either, Tobes, but I'm just saying it's there.
You're not going to get 12 races at Stall plus 4 trials.
No.
There's just not that many horses.
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying that it may not work at every track. There might be some times when a Stall might get 12 meetings, like they might 12 races. They might have some day where they get the 12. So they might have to say, well, we don't have trials on this day, but other days, definitely. And I know, like, listening to Grant and Karen and that, the only options they really have are going to Terang, to trial Horsham and Maryborough, and they're a long way to go for people from that area. So, it's definitely got to be an issue, and I think well done to them for doing it. I think Ararat have done it a couple of times too. I might be wrong, but I think they've done it a couple of times as well. So, yeah. I agree with you, Tobes, other than make sure that it's not when they've got a heap of horses, that's all. So, yeah. Yes, Daniel?
It would suit the small... I was going to say, suits those, the second tier sort of clubs, I guess you could say, not the absolute, the major clubs, your Ballarat, Bendigos and Shep, but certainly like a club like us at Cobram and, Stawell and Ararat, those sort of places that might have 10 or 11 meetings a year sort of thing where they can, they might not do it every meeting, but they might put it on for, 2 of the race meetings, and you might only get 10 horses, but at least it just saves you that little bit of coin and volunteer time as well. And, it would, it's just, and for the participants as well, I mean, it just saves them having to travel that extra day on a Sunday or whatever day of the week it is. So it's just, something else to think about.
But say at Cobram, Dan, David Aiken might have 3 horses and need to get a horse back in the drawer or something, and says, well, chuck it on and go, send him going anyway, rather than him have to give up a whole Tuesday to send the horse to Melton to get back into the drawer. He's got to send a staff person or something and give up 6 hours round trip as well. So it doesn't just suit the hobbyist either. It can really help out the professional. And the other benefit, Paul, a lot of the time is the professional drivers. At some of those clubs at Cobram Trials, you probably don't have drivers more is nearly the biggest issue. But when you've got professional gun drivers like a Paul Campbell at the race meeting, driving in race 2, they can drive in a trial as well, particularly if Paul's broken it in because no one else will want to drive it.
And that's the thing, like if you've got horses that have, got out of the draw and the trainers might be looking at where can I get back in the draw? And there might not be too many options available, but at least if there's the option to take them to the races, they can, get back in the draw. Whether you'd want to do it for qualification ones, maybe the quali ones might be a little bit different. But certainly if you're trying to get back into the draw, to have that option there instead of having to wait, it might be a week or something before you can actually get the opportunity to trial, to try and get back in the draw, it might be a good option.
I'll throw one other thing too. Is years ago I had a horse called Queen's Vacation, and she was a big, bold going horse. And I got no doubt that Ashley Spears and a couple of other guys sitting in the back of the mobile used to get pretty scared when she was charging up behind the mobile. And every time I go to Bendigo Trials, I get the horse back in the draw, and you go to the races where they go that little bit slower and they keep the mobile at a set speed and release her at the set speed. She couldn't handle that, and that's what I had the discussion with the stewards one day there at about it, because they would let the rest of the field try and keep up with her. Basically, they'd keep Queenie racing. So it'd be a lot fairer on the punters at home to know that if Queen's Vacation is back in the barrier draw, she's back in the barrier draw because she's done it under race conditions, and it's the same speed and that going along. So, no, I think there's a lot of pluses to it, Tobes, other than those big days. But you're probably right. You counteract those big days because those areas actually have their own set-alone trial meetings because they've got a big number of horses in those areas.
Yeah, of course, Paul. Did you send the horse to Claire Goebel, that Queen's Vacation? Did she send it back, or did she have it first?
No, Claire always had it first, but that's okay. Daniel, your discussion point?
Well, there's nothing on the list, but I had thought of one, and this is obviously in what's been happening over the last month with Team Teal and the girls wearing the teal pants. Obviously, it was a big day at Boort today, but obviously last night with the big fundraiser and the night down at Melton of the Lynn McPherson Breed for Speed series. If you thought that it didn't mean a lot to the participants, all you had to do was see the bloke that put so much time and effort into this, into the whole thing, when his horse won the race, Aldebaran Alyssa, when they saw when he was on camera with Pete Svenozio and he was basically in tears that his horse had actually won. It just goes to show how much the whole event and the whole team seal means to Duncan. It was so good to see that the horse win. It obviously wasn't favourite in the race, but it was a great drive there by Taylor to land the prize. But the emotion that Duncan showed just shows how much it means to him. And I'm sure that there would have been a few people sitting at home watching Trot Vision last night and seeing that reaction that probably would have brought a tear to their eye, because it was really touching. It was really great to see, and really happy that Duncan got a winner there on a big night like the night which he founded, and it was a brilliant performance.
He's an amazing man, Duncan, how hard he works and the likes behind the scenes and what he does do. He always walks with a bit of you won't see arrogance or presence about him, but he's always a strong walking sort of a person. After that race, yeah, he was taken aback. Even coming back to the horses, as I said, we were out the back near the shed area, and he was quiet. It really, I think it was something, he just got so much joy out of it, really set him back a little bit, which was pleasing to see that he's actually human, I suppose, because he does do an amazing amount of work behind the scenes. So, yep, no, couldn't agree more. Doing the form for Boort, boys, my discussion point, doing the form for Boort, and I find it frustrating. You can, when you get the form, you can actually see their last 5 starts, what rating those horses were or what rating the race was that they went through. But when you click back to go to 10 starts ago, you've actually got to go right back into the race field. You can't see where they ran. You can't see what sort of race rating it was and the likes. The rating system for mine works a little bit. So basically, it's the last race. Horses going backwards and forwards through their classes. So you get horses that have won 10 races coming back against horses that may have won 1 or 2. And to be able to see what sort of races those horses have been contesting as they're going back through their grades. So it might have been a 56 to 66, 3 starts ago, and going back down that way. In the old days, you had the C1s, the C2s, and that stayed in the form all the way, and you could see it without having to go back into each individual race to be able to see where they were. So I think they need to tinker with that, whether it's just in a bracket, put a 55 if it's a 55 rater, but I think they need to put, or we've discussed this before, Toby said it, instead of give them a name. If it's between 50 and 55, give that a name. That's a Daniel Hibberd. 55 to 60, that's a Toby McKinnon. And at least you know when that name is there, the intermediate or whatever we want to call them, that we know what class they are. And I've got a query on one with that, is a horse called Presidential Art that went around in the last night. 2 starts ago, or last start, I think it went around at Mount Gambier and up to 49, and yet it's a 55 rater. It seems just a little bit ad hoc the way some of these rating systems seem to work, and it gets a little bit confusing for mine. I'm a person that's entrenched in it. I do form regularly. I just worry, how do we get the new people into the game and be able to understand it? I just find it a little bit frustrating, that sense a bit. Tobes?
Oh, I'm not sure what you mean, because I'm just looking at it now and it says, Marseille, 6th of 8th Geelong, 11th of November, 2,100 metres, rain affected, $7,000 gyms mowing pace, and in brackets, NR up to 50.
Didn't see that part right across. Have a look at Presidential Art for me while you're doing it then. Because I can't touch any of his screens. So
it was in about the last, wasn't it?
It was in the last, and the week before it went around in an up to 55 and up to 49, and
up to 49, yeah.
And it's a 55 rater. So that's what So how did that work?
I don't know. Start before was NR 55 to 65.
Yeah.
Start before NR 56 to 66. So I love your idea. It's terrific. I think they're doing it.
But how did it go around in an up to 49 when it's a 55 rater?
Oh, well, so it's Mount Gambier as well, Paul, so there might have been some conditions. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I might be wrong. Maybe I didn't slide my thing right across, but I couldn't find the. I can find it for the last 5 starts, but once you go back past those last 5, it's not in their form in that same part. So anyway, that's okay. That is my discussion point for today, I must say. Winners or Barrastock trial horse. Firstly, Daniel, I love this little horse that you've picked out, mate. I saw him again. Akey's there not that long ago, mate, and he's a little ripper. This bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, horse called Love Gun. I've seen him. He's obviously trialled many times at Chep over the last little while, and he's as a 2-year-old. He won one race as a 2-year-old at Maryborough. He's had one start back in December where he ran 8th, and obviously it wasn't up to scratch. He's been trying the last few weeks, and I reckon they've just started to work him out, and he seems pretty solid in his action. He seems a lot more reliable. And his effort on Thursday night, he sort of sat back and then came with one run. The leader had a pretty easy run out in front, but he went past it like a really nice horse. So I think going forward as a 3-year-old, I think this guy's got a fair bit of ability, obviously out of the mare Spider Girl. So gets a fair bit of talent you'd hope from Mum. And I think there's certainly a lot of wins available for the horse in a 3-year-old season. I think it's just started. Obviously, they've got that win as a 2-year-old, and it just didn't really click as a 2-year-old. But I think they might have a little bit of a break, and back as a 3-year-old, I think he might be a nice trotter.
That night that the last week's David Aiken runner that you tipped as your trial horse trialled, he actually went in that same night. They put him on the truck. I was there, and he roared and carried on, and David alluded to the fact that he just needs a few runs just to come knock him down a peg or two. He's a little bit colty in the rest, so it's a good sign, I'd say, a week later that they're definitely winning with that horse. Tobes, last week
Max Delight. I was just going to say, Max Delight's run last week was really good in the sprint at Menangle. I think a few people might have said he was a bit disappointing, but they went 149 and he couldn't go any faster than he was going. And I thought it was a really good run by him too.
Daniel, they came out of the woodwork too to chip you after the Newcastle Mile when we mentioned Western Sonador. A few of them might want to go back and just watch a couple of replays, maybe 2 or 3 times on that horse. Yeah, he didn't make the Miracle Mile. He wasn't the most unluckiest horse, but he could. But I tell you what, sit up and watch him because he is the real deal, that little fella, that's for sure.
Yeah, if he gets a clear passage, I mean, wish they'd have installed the double sprint lane like we suggested last week. They should have put it in by now. It's unbelievable that they haven't done it. But if he had got a clear run, unimpeded, he probably, I reckon he may have run third. I don't think he would have run top 2, but he was very unlucky, and I think people might take a bit of notice of him. He's a really nice horse.
I've been watching Menangle for about 3 years thinking there should be a double sprint lane, and it drives me bonkers because every time I watch a race I think, I wish it had a double sprint lane. At least now I know I'm not the only one getting driven mad by it because Jim Luby thought it was a good idea too, Paul.
Tobes, I hate to tell you this, but yeah, apart from the blue pill, it's been the most talked about thing about last week's show, I must say. So it's actually people agreed with us. So yeah, that's all good. Tobes, we are on to...
Paul.
Yes, Toby.
Paul, South Australia have and this is why, if you put it on the run sheet earlier, I can do a bit of homework, but I've just looked it up. South Australia have a local concession point system. Point.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can tell you why that horse got in a 49 when it was a 55 raider. If you've won less than 9 races, you get discounted points in South Australia. They've got a different little clause.
So my discussion point was actually clarifying the rating system and how it works. So now you've thrown another clause in that a person who is entrenched in the industry, unfortunately or fortunately, I've done it for...
I don't race horses in South Australia, so you can't expect me to know that off the top of my head.
No.
So I had to look it up.
No. I'm saying I'm not having a go at you. I'm saying me. I'm entrenched in the industry. Did not know how that works. No offence, fellas, get your act together and get a unified thing. How can we get new people into the sport if people that are entrenched in it can't understand it? You've had to go and look it up before it goes. That's all I'm saying. Have a look at the rating system. There's a lot of people say it doesn't work. Maybe it just needs a touch of streamlining and make it a little bit more clarified. Haven't got my award yet from HRA, so I probably better not come off the long run and give them a real hard clip, but until such time as I actually physically get the plaque in my hand. Hello, Cam Bray, if you're watching. So, yeah, Cam Brown, sorry. Cam Bray will be watching. He's got nothing else to do other than watch eBay. Toby, Woodlands winners. This horse, I reckon I've heard of this horse before. Better's Delight. What's a go?
Yeah, he didn't have the worst night at Menangle, Paul, as a stallion. There was 10 races, and he just, when it gets to the premium racing like we got at Menangle at the moment, he just had 5 winners. The first winner was Bad to the Bone, which was just a standard $20,000 invitation drivers race.
Lady drivers race.
Then he thought, I'll get race 2 under the belt as well with Escalera. He had a couple of misses, which isn't really good enough for him. Stylish Memphis won the Ladyship Mile, Paul, which isn't a bad little race. Just too good for Mark Jones and Drac Train. It was a good little drive, that as well, and Stylish Memphis winning the Ladyship Mile. He then thought, well, just to show how good a mares and fillies I throw, he won the New South Wales Oaksy side Antonia, which is a sort of horse that might have come from Villa Torano, Paul, that name, Antonia. Sounds like a sort of Villa Torano sort of a name. We'll skip over Pat Speedstorm and Idyllic, and then, Tasty Delight was the morsel at the end of the night where he got another winner to make it 5, Paul. So, yeah, apart from Villa Torano, he's probably going as good as anything. Better's Delight.
Sired the two sales top of 2 at the NZB Christchurch sale, 310 and 320,000, if you don't mind. Umpire, I think Woodlands would love the fact that we're giving him a plug, but I don't know if we necessarily have to, Tobes. I think he can sell himself, that's for sure. Hey, on the Ladyship, nearly finished, but on the Ladyship Mile, Connor Clark, we talk about small stables doing a great job. Stephen Clark and Connor Clark did a great job running second in a time-honoured group race in harness racing, the Ladyship Mile. It is one race that has stood the test of time, has hardly been touched, changed, altered. They moved the timing around a little bit, but it's a time-honoured race, and to run second in that, hats off, boys. You've done a great job. Yes, Toby?
Now a mile, which is a bit of a difference. It's now a mile, which is a bit of a difference to what it was, isn't it? It was a 1760 mile race once upon a time, right?
At Harold Park, but it was always called the Ladyship Mile. Mate, I can't... Yeah, okay. Rightio. No, I don't think it was 1,700, Topes, but anyway. I don't think it was, but anyway.
A mile?
I think it's always been called the Ladyship Mile.
I don't want to agree with you.
Topes,
I just don't want to agree.
I love you very much, Tobes. Tobes, we've got a bit coming on up shortly in the near future. Charlton have got plenty planned at their Cup meeting. Andrew Gorman and that were talking to me today. You're going to be there, I think, on trackside on that day. It's about 2 weeks away.
Yeah, March 14, Paul. We've got a big punt off. So we'll have 8 punters in the room. Well, no, 9 I'm up to. 9 professional punters in the room, and they'll all be placing bets throughout the day to make as much money as they can for themselves. They'll be spending their own money and punting, and we'll get full Trots Vision coverage of the day, and we'll be able to see what they're backing. The person that wins on the day will effectively at the moment get a $2,250 bonus. So she's a big prize for the punters. So. And it'll get very interesting towards the end as well, because I think there'll be some Hail Marys getting thrown to try and win it. And, so that'll be March 14 at Charlton, and it'll be a very exciting day. We'll go into it a bit more detail probably next week, I suppose, being it'll be only a week out then. And, of course, you and I, we were going to be going to Mount Gambier, but after what you've delivered to the SA Racing Club tonight, anyway, we might be free on March 13. Because we were going to be doing the Mount Gambier Cup. But after potting their rating system tonight, you might have done us out of a gig.
Fair to say I wasn't potting Mount Gambier's. I was actually potting the whole rating system, every state. So if that's going to stop me going there, good luck. Philip Wood, looking forward to being there and enjoying their hospitality going on to the 13th. Daniel, we'll go backtrack because Toby didn't see your finger up and I got a fair idea what you're about. But we'll go back to Charlton for 1 minute.
Yeah, well, I think I'll be there as well. I think I've scored a gig at Charlton as Toby's sort of assist. No, his assistant. I think I've landed a gig as a scribe or something. So it'll be. I'm not sure what I've been plonked into, but I think Joey's got a job for me, so I'll be there on Cup Day at Charlton.
Right.
In the industry, we call it a fluffer.
Yeah, there's another word, but I can't. I want to keep this show G-rated, so I can't say it. I'm putting it out there, gentlemen, that we will be on the 14th, Sunday the 14th. We will be going live on the Sunday night from Charlton Harness Racing Club because it's just an hour up the road that I think we could take the show there. No, we can't, Tobes? Yes, Toby, we can still do the show. You'll just have to behave yourself,
He's
mate.
doing it drunk tonight, so what's it matter?
It'll be a bit of fun. So we'll look forward to doing that. Either we do it, we'll either go live or record it on the place, but we'll work that out a little bit closer. It's an hour up the road for me. If I don't have another commitment, we will be there. Yes, Tobes?
Could this be the worst 5 minutes ever put on Facebook?
Absolutely. Travis Knight and the crew, well done to them. Good luck for Birchip next week. It's on the 6th as well, so there's plenty going on. Gentlemen, thank you very much. On Loose Lines, as I said, the boys need paying. They need some sponsorship. Get behind them. And Daniel will be very civilised. Toby could be just completely gratuitous and goes right over the top. How many times did we mention NZB tonight, Tobes? I counted 15 and lost touch.
Enough for a polo shirt, Paul, I reckon.
I haven't even got one. All right, boys. Thank you very much.
You've got that much of this going on. You can afford to buy one.
Goodbye, gentlemen.